but you can't do. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to my LinkedIn Lives. I'm Jasmine Navarro, certified wellbeing expert, working with educational institutions and companies, supporting their family wellbeing challenges. And as you know, every week I interview different experts who make a difference in people's lives. And today I'm super excited to be interviewing Nassimah. Hi, Nassimah.
Hello, so happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
No, thank you. I'm so excited too. So can you tell us about yourself and what you do?
Well, I'll try to put that in a nutshell. So I was a TV host and also a lawyer for a long time. And then I decided a few years after that to start my own YouTube channel and interview celebrities and people that I admire and respect for their stories and for their path to success, and try to really distill what makes them successful, what makes them lead such meaningful life, and try to find those inspiring stories and share them with the audience.
Amazing. No, I'm so looking forward to this because I know your work is absolutely incredible. So I love the title, Mindset Magic, Life Lessons from the Stars. Can you tell us what made you choose this and what does this mean, this title for today?
Well, it was both of us actually, but we had this discussion about the importance of mindset. It actually started with the show because my obsession or the idea behind the show was really, the question I had in mind was, what does it take to lead and live a meaningful and successful life? How is it possible that some people lead magnificent, wonderful life there, despite the setbacks, despite the obstacle they find their way, while others are stuck in their lives and live the same day over and over again and call it a life? And then I realized that it's not because some people are born with extra talent or have gifts. Obviously, some people are gifted and do have talents. But what makes really the biggest difference in those two people, the ones that are stuck versus the ones that are leading wonderful lives, is their mindset. And by mindset, we obviously mean the set of beliefs they have about what they are capable of, about how they see themselves, about the skills even that they want to acquire. So they have a clear idea of what they're capable of, but also of what's lacking and what they need to actually cross that bridge between where they are and what they want to reach or who they want to become. And I believe that the more I actually got to interview so many celebrities and from very different fields, so we are talking art, entertainment, literature, even doctors and athletes, they all have that in common, which is the mindset, this perception and this perspective that is so different from other people, which means is they are not special by any way. They are special, obviously, because of what they do and who they become in the process, but they are not born any special than any of us.
Yeah.
However, exactly, their perception of the reality is different, because they even look at setbacks or obstacles that come in their way as something that had not happened to them, but happened for them. So they're able to turn those kind of adversities and obstacles into lessons and into opportunity for growth, which I think it's a great thing. And obviously we can talk more about the mindset itself.
It's amazing. It's amazing. And I love what you said, because, that can benefit everybody, knowing that, all of the successful and famous people that you've interviewed, and one of the things that they had in common was their perspective. So that's something that we can all have.
Exactly, because that mindset is something that you actually build. It's not something that you are born with, which is very reassuring. Obviously, we are born with different aptitudes and different talents and different skills. Yet, what they have in common when we're talking about this mindset, of course, you've heard of Carol Dweck mindset books, which is absolutely brilliant, in which she makes the difference between growth mindset and fixed mindset.
Yes.
So they all have this growth mindset, which is basically the idea that whatever skills, abilities you have, you can improve them. You can become better. You are not fixed with what you have today. And it goes with your IQ, with everything that you have. And all those people, even those that are born gifted with certain talents, they didn't depend only on their talents or gifts. They worked, they improved, they make things better. And because of that, it led to something else that is one of the other components in the mindset, which is their ability to grow and adapt. because obviously
Oh.
situation changes, circumstances changes. And even if you're a star today in whatever you do, that doesn't mean that in 10 years you're still going to be relevant. So you need to have that mindset that's going to encourage you to learn more, to study more, to adapt yourself, to stay relevant in whatever business you are. And it goes for like actors, writers, even like whoever, in whichever profession, it's relevant to everyone. And another thing that I think was like essential in what I look about, and
Yeah.
I look at them, is their self of their sense of worthiness and of self-esteem. And
Wow.
you know,
Okay.
like I thought that like in order to be famous or anything, they must have like that kind of self-esteem that tell them, oh well, I'm the best at what I'm doing, or I'm the smartest, strongest, whatever, prettiest. Until I interviewed a famous Egyptian actor who's now an international actor, and this actor's name is Ahmed Malik. He was a child star, so he started really early his career. And you know, with a lot of child stars, they are not able to pursue their career. They stagnate at some point, are unable to, you know, cross that bridge and stay relevant. And he did
Yeah.
manage to do that, and he's still very relevant and does amazing work. And is now working on international movies. And he said, like, I learned very early on that if I base my sense of self-esteem on the fact that I'm the youngest or the most talented in my generation, I'm gonna fail and I'm gonna have a very short career. But if I built it on something that is anti-fragile, I know I can last. And I thought that this was brilliant. And I kept on asking him, okay, then what do you build your sense of self-esteem upon? What is
Yes,
like the
exactly.
anti-fragile thing? Because obviously
Exactly.
it's not being the strongest or smartest or most talented, because all these things are very weak. You're always gonna find someone who's better than you, who's more handsome, who's younger. And he said,
Yeah.
my identity is on becoming a learner, because whatever happens, even if there's a setback, even if a project fails, if I get criticized, if whatever happens, I know I can learn from it. And
Oh,
by
wow.
becoming a learner, I become so strong, so resilient that nothing can actually stop me. Even when I fail, I know that because it's not my identity. And I think this is so important because, like, I even received a lot of questions about failure, especially when I said that I was going to be on your show. And that perspective was interesting, because what I realized from his word is that we look sometimes as failure as like the worst thing that could happen. But failure is an event. It's not a characteristic about someone, and it's
So
not a
true.
person. So when you try to build your sense of identity and self-esteem on something as strong as becoming a learner, on being a learner, on learning even from your failure, even from those moments, you are able to carry on
That's
and
brilliant.
to pursue.
That's so
So
powerful. It's so powerful. And just to say, yeah, and it's like also you're not, there's no judgment there. You just remove all sense of judgment and
exactly.
positive or negative. There's no positive or negative either. It's just that's how it is, and there's always something to gain.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it's also what you decide to focus on, which is another component of what I wanted to talk about, which is like,
Yes.
um, as people that are like masters at what they do, or famous for what they are doing, like you would think that, or at least that was my perception in the beginning, that their focus must be on becoming like famous, or that
Oh,
the people would recognize them. And I had the immense privilege of meeting Brian Cox, the famous Scottish actor, obviously the star of Succession and many plays and movies. And
wow.
I asked him, what's the best, like, what's the advice you wish you had been given when you started your career? And I remember he said, luckily, I received that piece of advice very early on in my career from my mentor. And he told me that his mentor told him, don't focus on becoming a star. Don't chase fame or stardom. Just focus on becoming a very good actor. And he said that this piece of advice changed his life. And
Wow.
it made him very conscious of focusing on just like becoming better with every single role. And this is why till today he is actually getting better and relevant. And obviously the stardom and the success and everything else, just like it fell into place, it came along, but it came as a
Yes.
byproduct, not as
Yes.
something he
Yes.
is chasing. And I
Yes.
think like if you look at the really great people,
Yes.
what makes them great is not that they are famous or that the people know them. This is like a result
Yeah.
of being great that they are. But it's because they pursue mastery and greatness rather
Yes.
than popularity. And this is
Oh,
why
wow.
today, especially with social media, you have a lot of people that are famous, but can you say that they are successful? They might be successful in terms of numbers, of viewers, of followers, but are they gonna be relevant? Are they leaving a legacy? Are you gonna
Yeah.
remember years to come? And this is actually a great point he made. So
Yeah, no, that's so interesting, and actually, it sort of connects with the previous celebrity that you mentioned about
yes,
becoming a learner. What they both said is basically it's just working on yourself and becoming better and better each day.
it is. And I think like we both talked a lot about the fact of being aware of what you want and doing the work. And I think the more you are like invested in your own growth as a person, it does have an impact on the outcome, whether professionally, whether in like even financially or otherwise. And I think for
Totally.
all those people, it's because they decided to invest in themselves and work on
Yes.
themselves and not take it for
Yes.
granted that they are
Yes.
famous at that moment, or that maybe the fact that they are whatever talented, it's gonna
Yeah.
like make it for
And,
them.
oh, totally. No, I love it. I love everything you're saying, and I completely agree. And I'm so aligned with everything that you're saying. And I think as well, maybe some people they want to chase the fame, chase the money, and chase all of that because they can see it, and it feels like it's going to be a quick gain. But obviously, when you're working on yourself, you don't see it immediately, and it's really hard work, of course. But it lasts, it's sustainable, but you don't always, it takes a while, it's hard work and it takes a long time. That's the thing. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. And I think like when you change that perspective, or at least this is what I've witnessed with them, is that
Yes.
they are not focused on whatever setbacks they deal on their way. And this is so important because like I feel like we are all so aware of our fear of failure that it even holds us back from even trying. And
Wow.
and when you have that idea of being a learner, of even learning from your mistakes or from your failures and all these things, you look at those ugly monsters that are like failure, rejection, self-doubt as like in a way part of the journey. They're not
Yeah.
gonna stop your journey, but they're gonna be there. And
Yes.
I've always been like, as much as I've been obsessed with the idea of success, I've always been very much obsessed with the idea of how do you deal with failure? Because for a lot of us, failure can just like stop you and makes you
Oh,
doubt
totally.
yourself. It's an ugly
Yeah.
thing. And I remember the words of actually the writer of the book The Help. And she said something that I will always remember, which is like, you need to learn to eat rejection. It's going to make you stronger. And it does make sense. Like, if you
Each
are
rejection.
each rejection, it's going to make you stronger. And it's not like it's something interesting or even appetizing to eat. Obviously, it's bitter, it's sour, it's not something anyone wants to eat.
Swallow
But
it. Yeah.
it is like it's part of it, and it's not
Yes.
part of it because like it's not that you're going to do any project with the aim or intention of failing, obviously. No.
Yeah.
But if it
Yeah.
happens, it's in a way
Yeah.
part of your learning again experience of
Totally. And no, I absolutely love this. And it's like, embrace it because it's always going to be there in one way or another. Like, as you keep going and move forward in your life, rejection is part of that. It's not
exactly.
like you're always
And
going to
for
be
some
rejected, but it's
people, absolutely. And for some people, it actually fueled them. Like I've met Bonnie Garmus, the author of Lessons in Chemistry, like
oh
the
wow,
book that was like a best-selling book, and it turned into a TV
amazing.
series on Apple. And she was like, she called herself the queen of rejection because her previous book was rejected 98 times before she actually got
No.
published. So 98 times. Imagine having to face the same rejection over and over again. And yet she said like it became her like fuel and fire that she needed to prove that she can actually deserves and is worthy of having a book published. And she did manage to write at the end Lessons in Chemistry, which became a best-selling book. But again,
made her
like,
more determined.
it could have stopped her, and for so many people was the first rejection, because no one likes to be rejected. Obviously, you can think of, okay, this is not meant for me, and maybe it's not meant for you, but maybe you just need to either learn what you need, like the skills you need to be able to reach that level of success you're looking for. And sometimes it's about pivoting, and sometimes it's about adjusting things, but it doesn't mean that you are like, we both love Mary Sapir, and there's that famous line she always said, like, no one can reject you except yourself.
Oh yeah.
And I think this
Brilliant.
applies totally to anyone. We take it so personally, and of course for all the valid reasons, but at the end of the day, if we remind ourselves that only us can actually reject ourselves, even if the whole world reject our project, it gives a very different perspective. And all the successful people I've met, they all had that in common. They looked at failure in a very different angle than most of us do.
And probably it sounds like they probably all, I don't know, but did they all worked on themselves, like had some kind of coaching, therapy to become so self-aware? I think we need the self-awareness as well to know all of this.
A lot. We talked about the importance of self-awareness, of like knowing really who you are and what matters to you and what motivates you. And it's interesting because you see it when you interview a person, and you can tell whether they are choosing this career because it is something in them that is calling them. It's a calling inside of their soul that they need to be doing that, or are they doing it in order to get the fame, recognition, and you can tell. And I think like the great ones are the ones that go after their calling, that have that level of self-awareness. And this is why a lot of them actually do meditation, do work on themselves, do take coaching, go to have therapy, because they want to learn more about themselves, about like what triggers them, what motivates them, what's stopping them. And I think this is why the work that you're doing is absolutely brilliant, because it starts really early. Like you can tell even in school with students, and then later on, if people don't know who they truly are, and I think it's a journey. Obviously, we never know who we really are.
It's a never-ending journey.
It never ends. But at least, like if you know that you're on this path, it's much easier than being dragged along other people.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
What they want from you. And it's interesting, especially when, and we talked about a bit about it previously, for people that are people pleasers, it becomes much more difficult to be self-aware, because your identity is aligned with what society or family wants you to be. And what I've noticed in the ones that I would call the great ones, the ones who are able to go after their calling and were brave enough to face whatever challenges or criticism from society and even their family, what they have done is that even the ones that were known for being people pleasers, they changed their focus from like, what are others gonna think of me, to how is my work gonna serve others? How is my art, my writing, my performance gonna change someone out there? And I think it's absolutely brilliant, because instead of putting so much focus on how are people perceiving you, which you actually have absolutely no control of, if we put that kind of energy to how am I serving others with the work I'm doing, it makes a big difference. And I think, like, most importantly, they got the memo that, like, at the end of the day, you're gonna be judged whether you live a miserable life or a successful life, so you might as well do whatever you want with it, right? And they have that. Although those same people are the first ones who were, in a way, criticized by their own families. Like, a lot of their families weren't supportive and rightly so, because for families, at the end of the day, parents want what is safer for their children. So they want a safe career, a safe path. They don't want their kids to venture into the art worlds and become like an artist after 10, 15 years, if they're lucky enough. And it's understandable. But at the end of the day, I think what makes an artist really go after what he wants, despite his family concern and everything is not just talent, it's his resilience, how much he believes in himself. And
Do you think? Yeah. No. Oh, sorry, I just interrupted
no,
you.
please. This is what I wanted to say.
Yeah. Do you think? Because not everybody has a calling, do they? I mean, I believe that I had a calling. But do you think, like, for example, all of those celebrities that you interviewed, do you think, did they say that they all had a calling? Do you think everybody has a calling? Because I think if you don't, sometimes it's hard to keep going if you don't, if you're not,
I
if
love
you
this
don't know you're
question.
doing the right thing. Yeah.
I love this question. It reminds me of, Joseph Campbell, obviously the hero with the thousand faces, and the idea of that every one of us has a calling, every one of us has a story to tell and a role to play. And it's hard because I'll tell you what, I think that the question of a calling is a question that fascinates me for so many reasons, because I think that a lot of us have been in a way hypnotized and seduced by society, by the media, by families, by culture, that we need to fit in, that we do need to not think outside the box, or to not be too, like, we try to fit in as much as possible. So we try to be average, really. And like whenever you have a big idea, you have to really like say whether it's going to work or not. And I think that we've been in a way like pressured and seduced and hypnotized to think that we don't have a calling. And to answer your question, not everyone knew their calling right away. For some people, it was very clear. They got the sign, they were attentive to it. And for some other people, like it took some really like breakdown moment and to have this breakthrough where they realize what they're really made of. And I think the call hits in very different timings according to the person. I mean, I want to say aptitude, because some people are very self-aware, they are really intuitive, they are really conscious about like their feelings of what they do, and they have that clear sense of identity. For some other people, it's a bit harder to listen to that call because there's a lot of disruption around them, and there's a lot of opinions around them, and a lot of, so it's not easy. I think I want to believe that we all have a call, but I don't think it's easy for everyone to listen to that call. But the more work you do on yourself, the more you are able to listen to that whisper. Like,
yes. Because you remove the blocks. You remove the blocks.
Exactly. And it's about exactly removing the blocks, as you say. And for some people, it's clear. They know right away. They see the sign. They are able to follow through. For others, it's going to take a lot of removing blocks.
And maybe, and I think it all happens at the right time, because maybe if you have a calling and you realize it later, maybe it's because you had to live through some other things first to help you.
Well, I definitely believe in timing as well. Like, and I love those stories where like someone is doing something and is on a path, and then there is like a complete shift in their life because they realize something about themselves, or they found themselves doing something else, and this is where their real passion or their real calling was all along, and they didn't notice that before.
So no, it's so fascinating. I could listen to you all day, Nassimah. So going back
to you all day as well. I love talking with you.
Going back to mindset magic then. So you've mentioned quite a lot of things that you've learnt from interviewing all of these really successful experts. What else did they tell you? Like what else did you notice?
I noticed as well that in the way that how they talk to their self-doubt, because I was always like this idea of the imposter syndrome that hits some people that are trying to do something creative or even trying to go after their dreams. And I realized that self-doubt is like the biggest dream killer of all sorts of fears, right? Because it can stop people right away, right before they start. And I've interviewed an international producer, and I was asking him about like what makes him pick a certain director or filmmaker to work with, or an actor. How can he tell that this filmmaker or this actor is going to be a star, or that this is a project worthy of investment? And he said something that like, it doesn't matter how incredibly talented the person is if he doesn't believe in himself. And I
Oh,
think like when I try to translate that into other terms, it actually means that you cannot rise higher than how you see yourself.
wow.
People, no matter how talented you are, if you don't have that like
Wow.
self-concept of being
Self-belief.
a self-belief of being great at what you do, then
Yes.
it doesn't matter. Because in and actually it's not even only in entertainment, like think of it in any profession.
Your life.
Even if you're in life, even if you're talented, you need to actually be able to really convince other of how talented you
Live
are,
it.
right?
Yeah, you need to live it.
You need to live it, you need to own it. And I think the fact of owning it, it doesn't mean that you have to be delusional about your skills or think that you
No.
are the greatest and best of all. No, but it does mean that you're, like, I think that in our head we have like two coaches to take the coaching theory. One of the coaches is like a very empowering, all about like leading you to your greatest life, wanting you to cheering you on, wanting you to be better. And the other coach is the one of failure, who's telling you no matter what you do, you're gonna fail, so you better stay here. It's safer to not do anything. And
Oh,
the
yeah.
coach that's gonna win is the one you listen to the most, right? And it has to do with that. Who do you choose to listen to? I'm not saying that we should, and I'm not saying that those people completely like turn off any kind of self-judgment. They don't. They have a clear idea of who they are, but they also give more importance to the voice that is telling them that this is possible, that it shouldn't
Exactly.
let them stop here. And I think like whatever profession, owning your talent, owning your greatness, owning what makes you special, this is what makes like something stand out and shine. Because eventually
Definitely.
at the end of the day, there's so many talented people, so what's going to make you different from other people is the fact of,
Brilliant.
as you said, standing up for yourself.
Brilliant. Brilliant. So you've mentioned a lot of things then with this mindset magic. So having a growth mindset.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so the so always reacting to whatever happens as a chance to learn, whether it's positive or negative, actually. So you're
Exactly.
always a winner, basically. With that magic mindset, you're always a winner because you're always going to learn something.
Absolutely, absolutely. And again, what I think I learned the most about all these interviews is that the most fascinating people I've ever interviewed are the ones who master the art of pivoting. Because life never goes according to plan. You could be the best planner in the world and really like plan your life
Oh,
ahead and know exactly what you're going to do. But then obviously it's never going to happen this way. So what's your like how you're going to pivot, how you're going to make the best out of it. And the real
yes,
winners in life are those who are able to pivot through those setbacks.
totally. Totally.
And
Being
I think
flexible.
that another thing that we overestimate and talk about and don't really analyze is the term passion. We all talk about, oh, you need to be passionate about something. It's so easy to be passionate about something when you start your journey, right? But it's about how you're gonna persevere. And this is where like I love the difference between grit and passion, because passion is just passion, but passion plus perseverance is grit. And I haven't met any successful
Oh,
people who didn't have like a huge amount of grit in their life, in their quality,
great.
in their personality,
Yeah.
because this is really what keeps them going on. It's they are criticized most of the time. They have setbacks. I interviewed a famous Egyptian actress who said, I failed more than people would realize. But what people didn't realize is that whenever I failed, I went back on track. So people didn't notice how many times I failed. And it's about
Wow.
having that kind of mentality of,
Yes.
you know, perseverance and
Yes.
endurance. Like
Yes.
you're
Yes.
here for a long term, so you better be
Yeah.
equipped
Yeah.
to do that. And
Self-trust.
also, yeah, and
Yeah.
also I would say the company they keep, the surrounding they have. We always say like you're the average of the 5 people you have in your life, right? Most of them are like they have great mentors, they have friends that are supportive, they read the right things, they listen to the right podcast. So their mind and their surrounding and
Feeding.
their environment is helping them also grow, which is an important aspect also of what makes someone like be able to fulfill their destiny or potential.
Definitely. Wow. 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 Now that was magic.
Oh well,
You are magic,
always magical,
Nassimah.
Jasmine. Thank you.
You are magic. No, I loved everything you said. And yeah, it sounds like a lot of everything that you were saying about, all of the successful people you've spoken to, it's all connected, isn't it? It's all about the self, working
Absolutely.
on you to build the best relationship you possibly can with yourself. So you have the self-trust, the self-belief, your perception, you have a perception that serves you. Keep going, listen to yourself, listen to your calling, tune into your intuition. I mean, it's all so powerful, and it just reaffirms that the power of investing in yourself. And we've got to work on ourselves, and things don't come from we don't get things from the externally. Everything's internally, isn't it? First, then externally. Absolutely. So I've really, really enjoyed. Oh yes, carry on.
No, absolutely. I mean, I definitely agree with you. And this is why, again, I think the work that you do is so important and relevant, because we see the evidence in the people we admire, is those who actually apply everything you've been working on and teaching and practicing, that are able to do great things with their lives. So, and I think you don't need to be a star in what you do. Just like leading a meaningful life starts with working on yourself and within yourself.
I think so. Thank you so much, Nassimah.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's been an absolute pleasure. How can people find you? And, I have to say, you have to go to Nassimah's YouTube channel. It's gone viral. She's had millions of views. She's absolutely amazing. Please can you put all your links on the post?
Thank you. I'll send the link on the post, but obviously I'm on Instagram under Nassimah Francis, and my show is Nuqtatain Khat, which means 2 dots and a line. It's in Arabic, but I promise that I will have English translation very, very soon for
me too. Yes, please put all the links on the post, and thank you so much.
Thank you. My pleasure.
I can't wait to see you soon, and see everybody else next week.
Bye.